Hello everyone, and welcome to this our series on how to win a fully funded master's scholarship abroad. I'm your host, Afamijeke, and today we'll take a deep dive into one of the most exciting scholarship opportunities for Nigerian students. Walk you through both processes, the eligibility process of first of all getting admitted, and also of getting the scholarship programs. And especially if you're based in Nigeria or anywhere in Africa, this podcast should be useful to you. So let's dive in. I have a script here actually, which I prepared, and my script, I'll be taking this in segments, and at every segment I will mention it, so that if you have to replay this video, you'll be able to pick the particular segment you're interested in. So on impulse, the first question will be, why Sweden, and why master's program, or rather why Sweden and why the scholarship. First, why Sweden? Sweden is a home to many high quality English taught master's programs across different disciplines. Actually, there is a list of master's programs that you can go through, especially if you go to their portal. There's a portal, UniversityAdmissions.se. That is where you apply. It's a central portal where you apply for master's program for all Swedish qualified universities. So these master's programs are taught in English, right? And Sweden gives you access to innovative research, multicultural campuses, and strong connection with the industry. But of course, the cost of international study is high anywhere, including Sweden, which is why the Swedish Institute scholarship for global professionals is such a game changer, especially if you're a postgraduate in Nigeria. So I recommend this to you as an opportunity. And it's a fully funded scholarship covering tuition fees, giving a generous living allowance, and even travel grants. So for Nigerian postgraduate students seeking international studies plus scholarship, this is an opportunity, a major opportunity at that. And we need to talk about the eligibility criteria. Who can apply? First of all, because you're listening to this podcast, you're already ahead, understanding what it takes, timeline, and what kind of preparation is required, because these are the things I am giving out on this podcast. All right, let's jump into the eligibility criteria for the Swedish Institute scholarship. I'll talk through each key requirements and highlight what it means for a Nigerian candidate. 1. Country of citizenship. You must be a citizen of a country that is eligible for the Swedish Institute scholarship for global professionals. Nigeria is eligible, so Nigeria is on the eligibility list. To prove that to prove your country of citizenship, you must hold either a valid traveling passport or a government ID like the NIN to show that you're a Nigerian. you do not need to reside in your country. What I mean, you do not need to reside in Nigeria as a rare at the time of applying. If you hold dual citizenship, you must choose one and apply under one. Don't submit multiple. If you submit multiple, you'll be disqualified. We will find out. So the best bet is if you hold a dual citizenship, choose which of your citizenship, which of the countries you want to apply with, and use only that. Don't apply using different countries. Secondly, you apply to a master's program that is eligible. The last year's list, they had more than 700 programs on the eligibility list for the Swedish Institute program, scholarship program. It is not enough that you apply for masters in Sweden. The master's program you apply for must be listed as eligible for Swedish Institute scholarship. The scholarship publishes a list of eligibility each year, usually around mid-November. So for Nigerian candidates, you want to review that list and pick programs in your chosen field, be it data science, business admin, HR, sciences, medical sciences, whatever that appears on the eligibility list. You must be able to pay tuition fees, and this means you should apply as an international fee-paying student. Only such students qualify because the scholarship is to cover those tuition fees. So it's very clear. You need a scholarship because tuitions are expensive, because master's program abroad is expensive. So first of all, you need to qualify, right, through admission, and you need to be admitted into a tuition paying school. So that is a major criteria. It is on that, it is all those costs, tuition, living allowance and all that the Swedish Institute scholarship program covers. So number four on the eligibility list, one of the distinct features of the Swedish Institute scholarship is that you must demonstrate work experience before applying. So work experience is very important. For many countries, including Nigeria, the requirement is at least 3,000 hours of work experience. Let me explain. 3,000 hours here is said to equate to, assuming you start working non-stop, it's like working for 1.5 years non-stop. Invariably, 3 years of work experience, which means you did not break or you did not have any gap, in the course of your employment. So a continuous work experience for 3 years or 3,000 hours of work experience. This can include full-time, part-time, freelancing, or even self-employment. The key is you can show the experience with documentation. For instance, if I were working as as a joint man, assuming after my BSc degree, I went into partnership with a carpenter, and then we are working together. I must have a document that will prove that yes, I worked, as a carpenter in that partnership. There must be a way. Either we can even have everything you did written down and you swear an affidavit to it, but you must be able to prove that, with a document of course, that you were in that partnership and you worked for at least 3,000 hours or 3 years. The next point, the fifth point on the eligibility list, is leadership experience. In addition to work experience, you must demonstrate leadership experience. This means you've had responsibility to influence, to allocate tasks, lead a team or project, or you've been active in civil society, that's volunteer organizations, networks, community leadership, where you had a real mandate. So, yes, you must be able to demonstrate leadership. And of course, you have to demonstrate it with documents, with documentation. So, if you were, let me take a common instance, if you're in a community, right, and you have, usually communities, they have meetings. In those meetings, there are leaders, right? And those meetings have names, right? Association names, So those meetings should be willing to give you a document to show that you were one of them, you were their leader in a certain capacity. That's the kind of documentary evidence that you require to prove leadership experience to be eligible for the Swedish Institute Scholarship Program for Global Professionals. There is no fixed minimum hours for leadership, but it must be credible and relevant to what you're applying to in terms of your course of study, and also relevant to your background, your educational background. So that is what we mean there. Then the sixth point, that brings me to the sixth point, where I have it on my script as other conditions and exclusions. Some of the additional eligibility points to watch out for. They are salient, but you have to watch out for them. 1, you must start your master's in Sweden in the autumn semester, typically in August. That's when you should start your master's, around August. You must be admitted to your master's program by the first admissions round. So not just reserve list. You must be on the very first list, first round. Those are part of the things they look at to be eligible for the Sweden or Swedish Institute program, scholarship program. Then you should not already hold a Swedish degree or be a permanent resident in Sweden, or even have Swedish or EU citizenship for the purpose of this scholarship, or you have been previously awarded Swedish Institute scholarship, you will be disqualified. So here, you don't have to be One, you don't have to be a Swedish postgraduate. You don't have to be a Swedish resident or you have residence permits in Sweden. You don't have to be Swedish citizen or even a EU citizen. So long as you are not any of these, then you'll be eligible for the Swedish Institute scholarship. Then fourth, you should make sure you will be able to pay any application fee and manage steps for visa and residence permits. The scholarship does not cover application fees. It does not. It only covers everything that has to do with your schooling. So if you get the admission, then you are eligible to apply for the scholarship. When you get the scholarship, that brings me to the sixth point, where I have it on my script as other conditions and exclusions. Some of the additional eligibility points to watch out for. They are salient, but you have to watch out for them. One, you must start your master's in Sweden in the autumn semester, typically in August. That's when you should start your master's, around August. You must be admitted to your master's program by the first admissions round. So not just reserve list. You must be on the very first list, first round. Those are part of the things they look at to be eligible for the that brings me to the sixth point, where I have it on my script as other conditions and exclusions. Some of the additional eligibility points to watch out for. They are salient, but you have to watch out for them. One, you must start your master's in Sweden in the autumn semester, typically in August. That's when you should start your master's, around August. You must be admitted to your master's program by the first admissions round. So not just reserve list. You must be on the very first list, first round. Those are part of the things they look at to be eligible for the Sweden or Swedish Institute program, scholarship program. Then you should not already hold a Swedish degree or be a permanent resident in Sweden or even have Swedish or EU citizenship for the purpose of this scholarship, or you have been previously awarded Swedish Institute scholarship, you will be disqualified. So our next topic here is the application process for Nigerian candidates or for African candidates. Yeah, on my script here, I carefully broke it down into two parallel tracks. The first one is applying to a Swedish university, that's for the master's program. Then the second track is applying for the Swedish Institute scholarship. So here you need to coordinate both properly. They are interwoven in such a way that their deadlines are very short. So it's better you coordinate both simultaneously. you should get your documents for both ready, so that as you're submitting and seeking admission into master's programs, you already have your documentation for the Swedish Institute scholarship application. So let's dive into the university admissions application. One, you need to choose your programs. You are allowed to choose up to 4 master's programs in all the related fields to your first degree. You cannot, for instance, have a degree in arts and you want to study computer science in master's degree. In Sweden, no, you will not be able to do that, except you have some bridging courses you have taken. Either you've done postgraduate diplomas, in the profession you want to do masters in, right? And then you also need to show you have sufficient work experience in the master's program field you want to go into. So that's the only way you can cross from, say, arts to computer science. Then you need to ensure that those master's programs are listed as eligible for the Swedish Institute scholarship. If they are not eligible, you will fail the scholarship application. Number 2, you need to check deadlines. Typical international admission time frame. Applications open mid-August. Our next topic here is the application process for Nigerian candidates or for African candidates. Yeah, on my script here, I carefully broke it down into 2 parallel tracks. The first one is applying to a Swedish university. That's for the master's program. Then the second track is applying for the Swedish Institute scholarship. So here you need to coordinate both properly. They are interwoven in such a way that their deadlines are very short. So it's better you coordinate both simultaneously. You should get your documents for both ready, so that as you're submitting and seeking admission into master's programs, you already have your documentation. Our next topic here is the application process for Nigerian candidates or for African candidates. Yeah, on my script here, I carefully broke it down into 2 parallel tracks. The first one is applying to a Swedish university. That's for the master's program. Then the second track is applying for the Swedish Institute scholarship. So here you need to coordinate both properly. They are interwoven in such a way that their deadlines are very short. So it's better you coordinate both simultaneously. You should get your documents for both ready, so that as you're submitting and seeking admission into master's programs, you already have your documentation for the Swedish Institute scholarship application. So let's dive into the university admissions application. One, you need to choose your programs. You are allowed to choose up to 4 master's programs in all the related fields to your first degree. You cannot, for instance, have a degree in arts and you want to study computer science and master's degree. In Sweden, no, you will not be able to do that, except you have some bridging courses you have taken. Either you've done postgraduate diplomas, in the profession you want to do masters in, right? And then you also need to show you have sufficient work experience in the master's program field you want to go into. So that's the only way you can cross from, say, arts to computer science. Then you need to ensure that those master's programs are listed as eligible for the Swedish Institute scholarship. If they are not eligible, you will fail the scholarship application. Number 2, you need to check deadlines. Typical international admission time frame. Applications open mid-August and closes mid-January for autumn intake. That is typical for most international admissions. So that's the time frame. Mid-October. That's when it opens and closes mid-January for autumn intake. For example, an announcement I saw showed 16th October to 15th January. That is typical for autumn intake. Then number 3, prepare application documents. You need to prepare application documents for Nigerian candidate means 1, bachelor's degree certificates backed by your transcripts. You must have the certificates, not copy of the transcript or photocopy of the transcript. No, you must have the certificate itself, which you collected from your university, a degree certificate, because it's only degree programs and it's only people who have undergone degree programs that are eligible for Swedish Institute scholarship. So you must show your first degree certificate and then transcripts. Usually your transcripts, they demand for your transcripts to come to them from the institution directly. So you should be prepared to either go to your school portal, pay the necessary subscription fee for your transcript, and have the address of the school you are applying to in Sweden for master's degree program. Secondly, you must show proof of English proficiency. You do this by either IELTS, TOEFL, or PTE, depending on the university. However, on this clause, most schools in Sweden teach in English for their master's programs. Most master's programs in Sweden teach in English. So, if you're coming from Nigeria, if you prove a documentary proof that you were taught in English, that should be a waiver for proof of English proficiency. Then you need to have a CV or a resume. There's a template for this, which schools in Sweden will want you to follow. So they have a template in which you need to prepare their CV or resume. So we now look at the Swedish scholarship application. So on my notes, I jotted down some of the points you need to follow, some of the steps. One, check when the course open. Early year, or rather, each year, Swedish Institute announces the opening of the scholarship portal, typically early February, and gives a short window, approximately 2 weeks or 3 weeks. But it's safer to take 2 weeks. It's safer you use 2 weeks window. For example, the latest call I saw, or the last call I saw, was 9th of February to 25th of February. So that's the time frame. You need to watch out for this, right? And while before this time, you should prepare. You should start preparing. You should have gone through the websites of the schools you want to apply to. Remember, you're going to apply to 4 schools. Then you have to take master's degree programs, select master's degrees programs that are relevant to your first degree, right? Because the scholarship is actually to cover those who have first degree. Then the second point here, gather required scholarship documents. That's what I'm talking about. For the Swedish Institute scholarship, you will need 1, motivation letter, and you have to use the Swedish Institute's templates. Very important. 2, you have to do your CV, and you have to do it using the Swedish Institute's template as well. 3, you have 2 reference letters. 1 must be work-based, and of course, the second one, preferably academic-based. Then, I'll talk about the third one. The fourth one, you must have proof of work experience and proof of leadership experience. The Swedish Institute also provides templates for this. They provide templates for this. So if you go to their website, the Swedish Institute Scholarship website, you will find most of these conditions, eligibility conditions. Then you have a copy of your passport or ID showing you are a citizen, right? Showing you are a citizen. Like for Nigerian graduates, you must have your Nigerian passport showing you are a citizen. Then the sixth one, on the gathering of required scholarship documents is your university admission stroke application number. If any of these documents are missing or incomplete, your application will be disqualified. That's how it works. So you need to start early, right? You need to start early, follow their time frame, and gather all these documents as required. Then number 3 on the scholarship application process is you submit your scholarship application via the Swedish Institute portal. You have to upload all required documents in the portal within the time frame. Like I said, the window is 2-3 weeks, but safer to use 2 weeks so that you prepare in earnest. Then you make sure you use the same email address that you use for your university admissions application. So you see where they are married together. The same university email address which you use, that's the one you use to receive messages from the university, is the same one that you're going to use for the Swedish Institute application. Then after uploading, wait for screening and results. That's the next point. I think it's number 4 on my list. You wait for the screening and results. Swedish Institute will screen your scholarship application. They will assess eligibility. And in late March/April, announce the scholarship recipients. Meanwhile, your university application result needs to be in by, say, 26 March, for example, or the relevant date. So that's why you must keep within the time frame. You must keep within the time frame. The next point is number 5. If you are awarded the scholarship, if you are awarded the scholarship, you will receive an offer email using the email with which you got your university admission, master's program admission. So keep that in mind so that you don't change your email after you have gotten the university admission for masters in Sweden. Don't change the email. The same email is what you're going to use to apply for the Swedish Institute scholarship. So you receive an offer email. You must accept within a time frame as well. Then follow all instructions regarding tuition coverage, living allowances, travel grants, and engage with the Swedish Institute network. Then you prepare for enrollment, residence permit in Sweden, and arrival. They've given the benefits. There are benefits to this. For instance, the tuition fees, they have an amount per month. Travel grants, they have an amount per month. So that changes is something you need to check up on their websites. Let's recap on the timelines, right? Mid-October to January, you apply for master's programs in Sweden. Mid-October to January, every year, you apply to master's program in Sweden. So you must check when this call opens. It's usually mid-October to January, right? Then early February, within about 2 weeks, say the last one I saw, 9th to 25th of February, you submit the Swedish Institute scholarship application. Then by late March, university admissions results. So from late March to April ending, you have the Swedish Institute Scholarship Award. So after this award, you prepare to travel and all that, and then in August you start your masters in Sweden. In this segment, earlier in this podcast, I made a promise that I will give tips and narrative advice on how to make a strong application, and I think we are there now. Let's talk about how you can maximize your chances of success. Remember, the competition is fierce. It's scholarship, so it's usually fierce. And here are the key areas. Number one, you choose your field and program smartly. This is how. If you are applying from Nigeria and you are interested in, say, data science, human resources, logistics, supply chain, medicine, so long as it's something you're choosing from the eligibility list, right? You pick programs with clear link to your background and career goals. So you have your career goals in front, you have your background, and you are in between. So you must pick programs with clear links to your background. Ensure they are on the Swedish Institute eligibility list. That way your motivation letter will make sense. I chose, for instance, a typical statement will go like this. I chose this program because Nigeria needs more data analysts, supply chain, or whatever profession. Also, that is in case you have a background for master's program in, say, data analysis and these areas I mentioned. So you just say, I chose this program because Nigeria, needs more, say, programmers, supply chain manager, whatever. Also, pick a mix of programs. One, dream program. Another one, solid program. Another one, safety program. All eligible for the Swedish Institute scholarship. So that's a minimum of 3 programs now, right? One should be like a dream. Another one should be like solid in the sense that your links to your background and the links to your career goals are very strong, very, very strong. Then the third one is safety. In case you don't make the first 2 admissions, this last one will take you, and it will still be linked to um, your background and your career goals. Sorry, your career goals. Then number 2, connect your study choice to impacts. Since Swedish Institute gives priority to those who can show how their studies will contribute to their home country's development or region and to the sustainable development goals. You have to craft your motivation letter accordingly. I gave an example here where I said something like this. After I complete this master's in logistics and supply chain management, I will help improve Nigeria's agricultural value chain efficiency, reducing post-harvest losses, boosting exports, creating jobs. That kind of narrative stands out. So, um, to the reviewer, it will be clear that I have a very clear intention in my application. Then number 3 of the tips and narrative advice I'm giving is documentation. That's work and leadership. Because work experience and leadership are mandatory, you have to ensure that, one, you have verified records, employment letters, pay slips, certifications showing your accumulated hours. For Nigeria, it's 3,000 minimum, about 3,000 hours minimum, which in my estimation is 3 years. Yeah, about 3 years. Then secondly, evidence of leadership. So you must show evidence of leadership. A project you led, a volunteer organization you managed, etc. You know, don't leave this until last minute because you need to get references, sign-ups, and perhaps get things notarized. So you need to start the process now. You need to start now. Then number 4, my list of tips how you make a strong application is English proficiency. For the master's program, you usually need proof of English. Plus, you must meet the academic prerequisites. For example, mathematics for data sciences or management background for HR. So, you must marry them this way. If you're missing something, consider taking a short course or independent study now to fill the gap. Then number 5, timing and deadlines. Be very conscious of deadlines. Missing the university application deadline or the Swedish Institute scholarship window will render you ineligible. No exceptions. No exceptions. Since you are in Nigeria, allow extra time for gathering documents, translations, and uploading, so that you don't experience surprises. Also, make sure your application number from university admissions is safely stored. It is important because you need it for the Swedish Institute application. Then number 6 on my script here, it's motivation letter and CV. Your motivation letter should not just repeat your resume. It must tell a story. Where you come from, where you have, what you have done, what you intend to do, why Sweden, why this university program, and how it links to your home country. Use concrete examples of leadership and initiative. Your CV for the Swedish Institute must follow their templates, maximum 3 pages. Highlight your professional experience, leadership, roles, academic achievements, international exposure, if any, not not compulsory, but if any. And clearly link it to your application. Then the seventh one, follow instructions exactly. Follow the instructions exactly. Many applications are rejected because forms are incomplete, missing documents, wrong format, or deadlines missed. For the Swedish Institute scholarship, if you send a PDF that is missing required sections, or use non-compatible templates, you might be disqualified. Like I said, the competition is fierce. So any slight mistake disqualifies you. The frequently asked questions says most successful candidates have carefully read through all the information about our calls for application as well as our frequently asked questions. So you may have to visit their website, the website of the Swedish Institute, to read their frequently asked questions so that you follow it exactly because of the competition. Then you prepare for arrival stroke residence permits. Once admitted and scholarship awarded, you will need to apply for Swedish residence permits for studies and plan your move. Since you're coming from Nigeria, prepare travel, accommodation, and insurance, and of course, arrival logistics. Though the scholarship covers living allowances, you still must plan responsibly. That is my advice. So that rounds it up for this particular tips. Let's look at one. I have them in bullet points. Choose a master's program. Sorry, choosing a master's program not listed as eligible for the Swedish Institute scholarship will automatically disqualify you. Then, applying only to one program. Let's look at the common pitfalls to avoid. Before we wrap up, a quick list of common mistakes we should avoid. One, I have them in bullet points. Choose a master's program. Sorry, choosing a master's program not listed as eligible for the Swedish Institute scholarship will automatically disqualify you. Then, applying only to one program. Have multiple eligibility options. The third one, submitting the Swedish Institute scholarship application before or after reading all the eligibility criteria, especially work and leadership experience, will create a pitfall. It's a common mistake. People will think you know it and will quickly submit without reading and also going through the frequently asked questions page. So don't do that. It's a pitfall. Then being admitted after the first admissions round. For example, as a reserve or late list, you cannot be awarded a scholarship. You cannot be awarded the scholarship. Another one is using dual citizenship in ways that violate the rules, e.g., submitting multiple applications under different citizenships. That disqualifies you because it's part of what they clearly stated in the frequently asked questions. Not aligning your motivation letter with sustainable development and your home country impact is a pitfall. If other people who submitted their applications did that and you did not, and the competition is fierce, of course, you will not be eligible, or rather, you will not be selected. Missing the required number of work hours or leaving documentation to the last minute is a common pitfall. Most people do that. Then they will now run back and they're asking people like me how they can quickly do this or how they can quickly do that. When clearly the instructions are there, what you should do. So prepare in earnest. Start early, to mitigate all this. Then not paying the application fee to university admissions by the deadline. The scholarship does not cover that fee. So you must focus on that. As soon as you have uploaded, you pay the fees, because you may just get carried away by just submission without paying fees, and the scholarship will not pay it, so you are disqualified. Then, if you fail to monitor the scholarship portal or missing having said all I've been saying regarding the eligibility and also the application process for both admissions to Swedish universities for master's degree program and for the Swedish Institute scholarship program, I will like to end by this note to you, all my friends, especially the Nigerian postgraduate candidates listening. This is your moment. If you have the motivation, the background, the ambition to make a difference in your field, whatever your field is, right? What I advise you do is you head up to the portal of Swedish Institute Scholarship for Global Professionals. Go to their portal, check your first degree, right? Tie it to a master's degree program that is eligible for scholarship by the Swedish Institute, right? And then start in earnest, because this is a golden opportunity, if you ask me. Studying abroad, any international study, is not cheap. Master's program is not cheap anyway, but scholarship is possible. So here is what to do right now. Go to the Swedish Institute website, check the upcoming call for scholarships for global professionals, i.e., check eligibility, deadlines, and program list. Secondly, on the UniversityAdmissions.se, which is the Swedish portal, central portal for university admissions, look for master's programs in your field It has to be in your field. At least you must be able to demonstrate that is your field. Check all that, check all the lists and find out those you are eligible to apply to, right? Eligible in the sense that you are eligible to obtain scholarship, because that is the main take here. You get the admission, then scholarship to fund it. It's a fully funded scholarship. Then you do, let me check my list. Then you shortlist between 2 to 4 programs. If you can do 4, best, because it opens your chances, right? It widens your chances. You select 4 programs. Then thirdly, start gathering your documents, your transcripts, your proof of English, whether by English test or by letters, showing you were taught in English. Your CV or resume, your work experience documents, your reference letters, then decision on your leadership experience. Number 4, draft a motivation letter. Think about how your study choice will contribute to Nigeria and the wider region, Africa. Think of how your choice of master's program will contribute to Nigeria and the wider region. Then the 5th, which is probably the last on my list here, mark your calendar. Admissions application windows starts mid-October to mid-January, and then the scholarship window starts early February. Don't miss the deadlines. Thank you, friends. I will also be publishing a follow-up episode where we talk about the step-by-step through making a strong motivation letter, as well as hosting a question and answer session for African applicants. Make sure to follow me on this channel so that as soon as I make any podcast, especially the next one, which is going to be taking you through how to make strong motivation letters, you will be the first to be notified. Thank you so much for listening.